In today's video, we're going to be talking about how to start an LLC in New Mexico. And we're not only going to be talking about different ways that you can do this, but also some important things that you should be familiar with. So if you've never heard of the terms piercing the corporate veil, registered agent, or commingling funds, I'm going to be covering all of those in this video, and they're really important to make sure that you have a legit LLC with no cracks in it. So the first thing I want to talk about is if you were to do this on your own going through the state website, you would end up on a website that looks like this. And if you click this button here to file your company formation, you then go kind of to this ugly state website over here. It's a little bit hard to navigate, but the link that you're really going to need to get to is the page that I'm on right now. So what I'll do for you is I'm going to put all the links and resources in the description below so that you don't have to fumble around trying to find these things. As you can see, this is where we are setting up a domestic limited liability company. And the thing that you may be interested in over here is the filing fee is $50. So no matter what route you go, if you go through an attorney, you go through the state website, you are going to pay that $50 filing fee to the state of New Mexico. Now, as you get set up, you need a proposed company name. And what I'm going to put in here is, how about Breaking Dad? We'll say that we have a LLC that is for a daycare called Breaking Dad. I would take my kid there. I think that's funny. So I'm going to click continue. I'm going to click continue one more time because these state websites aren't the best. Why don't we click search entities? Okay, no records to view. That's what we want right here. So the next page here, pretty simple. I'm just going to put in daycare. But what I wanted to focus on is actually on this next page here. This is where you start to get into initial registered agent office information. So let's say that your registered agent is an individual, create registered agent. This is where I find sometimes these state websites are not very helpful, because you're sitting here and you're like, okay, it's asking me for all this information. Like, what is a registered agent? So basically, a registered agent is a third party that must exist within your state, and they're going to help you with important documentation and make sure that you're dotting your I's and crossing your T's. What I have here is a helpful article from InkFile. If you're not familiar with InkFile, they form online legal entities very similar to LegalZoom. But if we scroll down here, you can see the 5 bullet points here. So this is what a registered agent does for your business. They are official letters and correspondence from your Secretary of State, service of process notices. So what that means is if you're sued, making sure that you're getting the proper documentation, you're showing up to court, all of those things. Official federal government correspondence information and notifications, tax forms and requests for payment, and request to complete permits, company filings, or reports. So basically, that registered agent is dotting your I's and crossing your T's with your LLC, making sure that everything is legit and you don't have cracks. Now, what I want to talk about right now is what an LLC is and what it is not. Because sometimes people think they're setting up their LLC and there's going to be a tax advantage to it. There is not. When you're setting up your LLC, it's strictly for limiting your liability. So you can think of your business assets. So that might be, your inventory, your business bank account, even your computer and monitors that you have at your business. Those are all assets. But then there's your personal assets. That's your personal home, personal car, personal bank accounts. What an LLC does is it draws a division between these two asset classes. And that division is called the corporate veil. So if you were in the unfortunate circumstance where you're being sued, the attorney suing you is going to try to find a crack in your LLC. So the legal jargon term for that is piercing the corporate veil. And one of the ways they'll do that is to see if you've done anything incorrectly. So that's where a registered agent helps to make sure that you're doing things correctly. But if you do have a crack in your LLC and they're able to pierce the corporate veil, what happens is that division between your personal and business assets disappears, and then they're able to come after your business assets and your personal assets as well. So that's why LLC is so important, is it helps to create that division between your business and personal assets. That's one of the things I don't like about these state websites, is they don't really go into the details of explaining things for you. And you can actually use other services that you still have that $50 filing fee, but you can get a registered agent for free for a year. So that's why I like this InkFile tool right here. They've started over 500,000 businesses since 2004. If you scroll down a little bit, that's where you can see business formation for as little as $0 plus state fee. You're probably wondering, like, what's the catch? I will get to that and explain what that is. If you click launch my business here, what you do is select LLC and then you choose your state of formation. We'll go down to New Mexico. And then in the silver package here, that's where you can see that it is $0 and the state fee is $50. So literally the same cost as it would take to set up with the state of New Mexico through their site. But the interesting thing is you get a free registered agent service for a year. So that first year, $0, $50 state fee, and you have a professional registered agent helping you with your business. Now, the catch to it is if you go back to this article on registered agents and you kind of scroll down towards the bottom, here is where you can see that it is $0 for the first year, but then it is $119 annually after that. So year 2, year 3, you're gonna have that $119 annual charge for your registered agent. But again, really important, they're making sure you're dotting your I's and crossing your T's so you have a legit LLC. You are not locked into their registered agent service, but I highly recommend having a professional help you out with that. Now, if we go back to this page, there's a few other things I want to highlight here. If you go to the gold package, that's where you start to have a package fee kick in of $149. Here's all the items that you're going to get with that package, but the one I wanted to highlight here is the EIN business tax number. Majority of businesses, when you get set up with your LLC, you're going to have to set up with an EIN. If you want to do this yourself to save some money, you can do that on this page right here on the IRS website. And as I mentioned earlier, all links and resources are in the description below for easy access. You can walk through this. Do you need an EIN? Do you need a new EIN? How to apply? And there's all sorts of helpful resources here, and then you can apply right here. I had to do this for my own small business. I will say this was a pain in the butt getting set up. Anytime I have to do anything with the IRS, I'm always kind of like clawing my eyes out because I find the process so difficult. But if you want to do it yourself, you certainly can do it yourself to save some money. Now, the other thing I wanted to mention on this page right here is the business banking account. So I'll kind of bring that up here. Currently, InkFile does that through Bank of America, and this is really important for 2 reasons. The first is something we mentioned at the beginning of the video called commingling funds. Now, you might be able to guess what that is, but basically if you start a business and you're running your incomes and expenses of that business through your personal bank account, what you're doing is something called commingling funds, and that's a no-no. So if an attorney was to sue you and they're looking for cracks in your LLC and they realize, hey, they're commingling funds, they may be able to pierce the corporate veil and come after your business assets and your personal assets. So that's why it's really important to have a business bank account set up day one. Another thing that's really important about that is when it comes to bookkeeping and tax time, it's a lot easier if you have everything in a business bank account from day one, because you'll be able to go into one account and it's all your income and expenses coming through there. If you start commingling funds in a personal account, it becomes very convoluted and hard to figure out what's what. So I highly suggest having that set up day one. Now, some people do like the platinum package on this service here. That's where you are going to have a $299 fee. But the advantage to that is it's really going to take care of a bunch of things for you day one. For example, domain name and business email, expedited filing, all your contract templates, business tax consultations, plus everything else that's involved in the lower packages. Now, let's say that you were to do the gold package and click here. Wanted to highlight one thing on here. Over here, tax savings benefit. So this is a fully deductible business expense. So no matter what route you go through the state website, you go through InkFile, which will both cost you $50, or you hire an attorney, which can be anywhere from $800 to $3,000 getting set up through an attorney. Make sure you save those receipts because you're gonna be able to deduct those at tax time. Now, as far as hiring an attorney, I haven't talked about that. There's really 3 questions you want to ask yourself. The first one is, how much inherent liability does this business carry? Now, what I mean by that is, if you're setting up a tree trimming service, there's a lot of liability there. Now, if you were setting up a comic book store, way less liability. So you want to think about how much liability is going to be within this business. If it's higher, you may want to consult with an attorney. Another thing you want to ask yourself is, are you going to be doing sales in and out of state? So maybe you're going to have multiple branches and you'll have a branch in a different state. That's where you can get into domestic and foreign LLCs. Probably worth talking to an attorney first. And then the last thing is, if your business is currently already producing $45,000 of net income per year, you may want to talk to an attorney. Now, the reason for that is the way that you structure your business and set it up. You can get set up potentially as an LLC with an S-Corp designation. Now, if you're at day one of your business, 85% of all new business entities are LLCs, so you're in good company there. But what you want to know is that in the future, you may be able to have an LLC with an S-Corp designation, which can help you out with taxes. So in this next video on the screen, I'm going to walk you through the differences between an LLC and an S-Corp when it comes to taxes. And again, guys, thank you for using my links in the description below because they help to support my YouTube channel. All right, guys, I'm going to catch you in that next video.